Good morning, all of you. I am Anu from BSc Chemistry Honours second year. Today, my topic is colloids. Colloidal state of matter. Thomas Graham in 1861 studied the rate of diffusion of liquid and solution across the animal membrane, and as a result of his experiment, he divided the soluble substance into two classes: crystalloids and colloids. The substance like common salt, sugar, urea, etc., which can be obtained in the crystalline form and in the dissolved state diffused through the vegetable or animal membrane, were termed as crystalloid, and the substance like starch, gum, glue, etc., which are non-crystalline in nature and in the dissolved state do not diffuse or have a little tendency to pass through the animal or vegetable membrane, were given the name colloids. Graham's classification of substance into crystalloids and colloids were soon proved to be wrong. A crystalloid was found to behave as a colloid under different set of conditions and vice versa. For example, sodium chloride behave as a crystalloid when dissolved in water but behave as a colloid when dispersed in benzene. It has since then been realized that a clear-cut difference does not exist between crystalloids and colloids. The non-diffusibility of colloids and diffusibility of crystalloid through the animal or vegetable membrane was shown to be due to the difference in the size of particle of crystalloids and colloids. The colloids form bigger particles which cannot pass through the membrane. It is therefore preferable to speak of a substance in the colloidal state rather than calling it a crystalloid or colloid. The particle size limits are given below. True solution less than 10 raised to the power minus 9 or 1 nanometer or greater than 10 angstrom. Colloidal solution between 10 raised to power minus 9 and 10 raised to power minus 7 meter or 1 nanometer to 100 nanometer or 10 angstrom to 1000 angstrom. So in suspension more than 10 raised to power minus 7 meter or 100 nanometer, that is 1000 angstrom. Thus the size of colloidal particle is intermediate between that of particle of true solution and those of suspension. A colloidal state of matter is therefore a state in which the size of particle is such 10 angstrom to 1000 angstrom that they can pass through the filter paper but not through animal or vegetable membrane. Thus, every substance can be brought into the colloidal state by adopting suitable methods. The distinction between characteristics of true solution, colloidal solution and suspension is given in table. In the table, true solution have particle size less than 10 raised to power minus 9 meter or 1 nanometer. They pass through the ordinary filter paper as well as animal membrane. They do not settle down. Particles are invisible, diffuse quickly, clear and transparent. In colloidal solution, between 10 size is 10 raised to power minus 9 to 10 raised to power minus 7 meter. They pass through ordinary filter paper but not through the animal membrane. Colloidal solution does not settle down. Colloidal solution scattering of light by particle is observed under ultra microscope. Colloidal solution diffuse slowly. Colloidal solution are translucent. In suspension, size is more than 10 raised to power minus 7 nanometer or 100 nanometer. Suspension do not pass through filter paper or animal membrane. Suspension settle on standing. Suspension particles are visible to naked eye or under a microscope. Suspensions particles do not diffuse. Suspensions are opaque. A simple example to understand a true solution, a suspension and a colloidal solution is to consider the solution of sugar in water and that of water in which mud is stirred. The former is a true solution, but in case of latter, so long as the stirring is continued, the mud remains in suspension, but as soon as the stirring is stopped, the large particle fall to the bottom of the vessel. However, smaller particles remain in suspension for a longer time, say for several days. This part of water containing minutes and mud particle which cannot be seen even under a microscope and pass through the filter paper is a colloidal solution. Types of colloidal systems. Just as in true solution, the substance dissolved is called solute and the medium in which it is dissolved is solvent. Similarly, in a colloidal system, the terms solute and solvent are replaced by the terms dispersed phase and dispersion medium. respectively. Thus, dispersed phase means substance distributed in the dispersion medium in the form of colloidal particle, and the dispersion medium means the medium in which substance is dispersed in the form of colloidal particle. The colloidal system thus obtained is sometimes called a colloidal dispersion or dispersed system. Evidently, unlike a true solution which is homogeneous, a colloidal system is heterogeneous, consisting of two phases, the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium. Depending upon whether the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium are solid, liquid, gas, 8 types of colloidal system are possible. A gas mixed with another gas forms a homogeneous mixture and not a colloidal system. The example of various type along with their type name are listed in table. Solid, solid form, solid sol. For example, some colored glasses. Solid liquid form, sol. For example, some paints, muddy water. Solid gas form, aerosol. Example, smoke dust. Liquid solid form, gel. For example, cheese, butter, jellies. Liquid form, emulsions, milk, hair cream. Liquid gas form, aerosol. For example, fog, mist, cloud. Gas solid form, pumic stone, foam rubber. Gas liquid form, froth or whipped cream. Out of the various type of colloidal systems listed in the table 7.2, the most common are solid in liquid, gel, liquid in solid, and emulsion, liquid in liquid. Further, it may be mentioned that depending upon the dispersion medium, the sol are given special names. Dispersion medium, water, name of sol, hydrosol. Dispersion medium, alcohol, name of sol, alkosol. Dispersion medium, benzene, name of sol, benzosol. Dispersion medium, gases, name of sol, aerosol. Classification of colloids or colloidal sol. The various substances which form colloidal sol are divided into two categories, namely lyophilic or lyophobic. If water is in the dispersion medium, the terms used are hydrophilic or hydrophobic. Lyophilic colloids. The word lyophilic means liquid loving. Substance like gum, gelatin, starch, rubber, etc., which when mixed with suitable liquid as dispersion medium directly form the colloidal sol are lyophilic, and the sol thus obtained are lyophilic sols. As they form the colloidal sol directly, they are called intrinsic colloid. An important characteristic of these sol is that if the dispersed phase is separated from dispersion medium, the sol can be made again by simply remixing with the dispersion medium. That is why these sol are called reversible sol. Further, these are quite stable and cannot be easily precipitate. Lyophobic colloids. The word lyophobic means liquid hating. Substance like metals, their sulfides, when simply mixed with the dispersion medium, do not form the colloidal sol. Their colloidal sol can be prepared only by special method. Such substances are called lyophobic, and the sol formed by them are lyophobic sol. As their colloidal sol have to be prepared by indirect method, they are called extrinsic colloid. These sols are readily precipitated or coagulated and hence are not stable. Further, once precipitated, they do not give back the colloidal sol by simply addition of dispersion medium. Hence, these sols are also called irreversible sol. The greater stability of lyophobic colloidal sols than the lyophobic colloidal sol is due to the fact that former are highly hydrated in the solution. The essential point of difference between lyophobic and lyophilic sol are given. Lyophobic sol. They are prepared easily by direct mixing with liquid in dispersion medium. They are quite stable and are not easily precipitated or coagulated. They are highly hydrated. They are reversible in nature, that is, once precipitated can reform the colloidal sol by simply remixing with dispersion medium. These sols are usually formed by organic substance like starch, gum, protein, etc. Their viscosity is higher than the medium. Their surface tension is usually lower than that of the dispersion medium. Their particles are neither visible nor detected by ultramicroscope. Their particle may migrate in either direction or may not migrate at all. In lyophobic sol, they cannot be prepared directly, prepared by special method only. They are easily precipitated by adding a small amount of suitable electrolyte. They are not much hydrated. They are irreversible in nature. that is once precipitate cannot form the colloidal solution by simply addition of dispersion medium. Their sol are usually formed by inorganic material like metal and their sulfides, etc. Their viscosity is almost the same as that of the medium. Their surface tension is nearly same as that of the dispersion medium. Their particles, though not visible, can be easily detected by an ultramicroscope. Their particles migrate in only one particular direction in the electric field. Multimolecular, macromolecular and associated colloids. The main characteristics of a colloid is its particle size. When some solid substance is dispersed into a medium in which solid substance is otherwise insoluble such that after dispersion the size of solid particle lie in the colloidal range, the system is called a colloidal dispersion. Example of colloidal dispersion are gold sol or a colloidal dispersion of arsenic 2s3 in water, etc. Depending upon how the different substance may have the size in the range of colloids, the various type of colloids or colloidal dispersion may be divided into the following three categories. Multimolecular colloid. When on dissolution, a large number of atom or smaller molecule of substance with diameter less than 1 nanometer aggregate together to form species having size in the colloidal range. The species thus formed are multimolecular colloid. The dispersed phase in this type of colloidal system may contain large aggregate of atom or molecule formed as a result of aggregating property of dispersed particle. For example, a gold sol may contain particle of various size having several atoms. Sulfur sol consists of particle containing 1,000 or so molecules. They are held together by van der Waals forces. Macromolecular colloids. When certain substances have big size molecule called macromolecule have larger molecular mass are dissolved in a suitable liquid, they form a solution in which the molecule of substance, that is dispersed particle, have size in the colloidal range. Such substances are called macromolecular colloids. These macromolecular substances are usually polymers with very high molecular masses. Example of natural occurring macromolecular molecules are starch, cellulose, protein, enzymes and gelatin. Example of man-made macromolecules are polythene, nylon, polyester, synthetic rubber, etc. As these molecules have large size and have dimensions comparable to those of colloidal particle, their dispersion are called macromolecular colloids. Their colloidal solution are quite stable and resemble true solution in many aspects. Associated colloid micelles, the substance which when dissolved in a medium at low concentration behave as normal strong electrolyte but at higher concentration exhibit colloid state property due to formation of aggregated particles are called associated colloids. The aggregated particles thus formed are called micelles. The formation of micelles take place only above a particular temperature called Kraft temperature and above a particular concentration called critical micelles concentration. The most common example of associated colloid is that of the surface active agents such as soap and synthetic detergents. For soaps, the CMC is 10 raised to power minus 4 to 10 raised to power minus 3 moles per liter. Each micelles contain at least 100 molecules. Mechanism of micelles formation. Let us take the example of soap solution. Soap is sodium salt of higher fatty acid and may be represented as RCOO-Na. Example, sodium stearate. When dissolved in water, it dissociates into RCOO negative and Na positive ions. The RCOO negative ions, however, consist of two parts: non-polar long hydrocarbon chain called tail, which is hydrophobic, water repelling, and the polar group COO negative called the head, which is hydrophilic, water loving. The RCOO negative ions are therefore present on the surface with their COO negative groups in water, and the hydrocarbon chain are staying away from it and remain at the surface. However, at higher concentration, these ions do not remain on the surface but are pulled into the bulk of the solution. As a result, at higher concentration, the RCOO negative ions form an oily aggregate with their hydrocarbon chain represented by wavy lines pointed towards the center and the COO negative part represented by solid circle outward as shown above. An aggregate thus formed is known as ionic missile. Each of these missiles may contain up to 100 ions. It is interesting to add here that a CMC missiles are almost spherical at concentration slightly higher than but close to CMC. They form flattened spheres. At still higher concentration, they form extended parallel sheets 2 molecule thick. These are called lamellar missiles. It was shown for the first time by McBain 1913 by X-ray analysis the existence of plate-like missiles of soap. Hence, they are named as MC-Bain missiles. The comparison of main characteristics of above three types of colloid is given in the soul of gold, sulfur, etc. Their molecular mass are not very high. Their atoms or molecules are held together by weak van der Waals forces. They usually have lyophilic characters. In macromolecular colloids, they are molecules of large size, starch, protein and polymer like rubber, nylon, etc. They have high molecular mass due to long chain. The van der Waals forces holding them are comparatively stronger. They usually have lyophobic character. Associated colloids, they are formed by aggregation of large number of ions in concentrated solution, example soap solution. Their molecular mass are generally high, higher in the concentration, greater van der Waals forces. Their molecules contain both lyophilic and lyophobic groups. Preparation of colloidal solution, as discussed earlier, the lyophilic sols can be prepared directly by mixing the substance with the dispersion medium. For example, colloidal sol of starch, gelatin, gum, arabic, soaps, etc. are prepared by simply dissolving these substances in the warm water. Similarly, a colloidal sol of cellulose nitrate is obtained by dissolving it in an organic solvent such as ethyl alcohol. Thus, the product form obtained is called collodion. However, the lyophobic sol cannot be prepared directly. Hence, the following two types of method are employed for obtaining the lyophobic sol. First, dispersion or disintegration method. The method involves the breaking of bigger particle to colloidal size. The method generally employed for this purpose are discussed below. Mechanical disintegration. The mechanical disintegration is carried out in a machine called colloid mill. It consists of two steel discs with a little gap in between are capable of rotating in the opposite direction at high speed. A suspension of substance in water is introduced into the mill. The size of particle is reduced to that of the colloidal size. Second is electrodisintegration, breeding methods. This method is employed for obtaining colloidal solution of metal like gold, silver, platinum, etc. An electric arc is set up between two metallic electrodes suspended in a trough of water. The intense heat of arc converts the metal into vapors which are condensed immediately in a ice cold water bath, resulting in formation of particles of colloidal size. Third one is peptidation. Peptidation is a process of passing of precipitate into colloidal particles on adding suitable electrolyte. The electrolyte add is called peptizing agent. A few examples of sol obtained by peptidation are given below. A reddish brown colored colloidal solution is obtained by adding small quantity of ferric chloride solution to the freshly prepared ferric hydroxide. A freshly prepared a precipitate of silver iodide can be peptized by shaking with a dilute solution of silver nitrate or Ki. On adding insufficient quantity of very dilute HCl solution to the freshly precipitated aluminum hydroxide, a sol of aluminum hydroxide is obtained. Cause of peptidation. As the electrolyte is added to freshly prepared substance, the particle of the precipitate preferentially observed one particular type of ion of the electrolyte and get dispersed due to electrostatic repulsions. This gives particles of colloidal size. Freshly prepared precipitates are preferred as they are easily peptized. Second one is condensation or aggregation method. These methods involves the joining together of a large number of smaller particles to form particles of colloidal size. The methods generally employed for this purpose are as follow. By chemical reaction, by double decomposition, when hydrogen sulfide gas is passed through a dilute solution of arsenious oxide in water, a colloidal solution of arsenious sulfide is obtained. By reduction, gold, silver, platinum, etc. are obtained in colloidal form by reduction of very dilute solution of their salt with a suitable reducing agent. Gold sol can also be obtained by reduction of gold chloride solution with formaldehyde and tannic acid or with hydrazine. By oxidation, sulfur is obtained in the colloidal form when hydrogen sulfide is bubbled through the solution of an oxidizing agent like nitric acid or bromine water. Fourth one is by hydrolysis. Ferric hydroxide or aluminum hydroxide sol are obtained by boiling solution of their corresponding chloride. By exchanging of solvents, substances like sulfur and phosphorus are fairly soluble in alcohol but less soluble in water. If their alcoholic solution are poured in water, colloidal solution of sulfur and phosphorus are obtained. By condensing vapors of substance into the solvent, colloidal solution of sulfur and mercury in water are prepared by passing their vapors in cold water containing a little stabilizing agent like ammonium nitrate. By excessive cooling, colloidal solution of ice in an organic solvent like ether is obtained by freezing a mixture of solvent and water. Purification of colloidal solution. When a colloidal solution is prepared, quite often it contains certain impurities of electrolyte which are crystalloidal in nature and tend to destabilize the solution. Hence, their removal is very essential. The following two methods are used for purification of colloidal solution. First one is dialysis. The process of separating the particles of colloid from those of crystalloids by diffusion of mixture through a parchment or animal membrane is known as dialysis. The separation of crystalloid from the colloids is based upon the principle that the particles of the crystalloids pass through the parchment paper or cellophane membrane where those colloids does not. The apparatus used is called a dialyzer, and a cellophane paper is turned into a bag with a funnel tied in the mouth of bag are shown in the figure. For the addition of the impure soul is filled into the bag which is then suspended into a vessel containing distilled water. After some time, whole of the crystalloid in solution pass out leaving the colloid behind. The distilled water is renewed frequently to avoid accumulation of the crystallides, as otherwise they may start diffusing back into the bag. The above process can be quickened if an electric field is applied around the membrane. The process is then called electrodialysis. Note: the most important application of dialysis is in the purification of blood in the artificial kidney machine. The dialysis membrane permits small particles of the excess iron and waste product to pass through, whereas colloidal sized particles such as hemoglobin do not pass through the membrane. Second one is ultrafiltration. Ordinary filter paper is permeable to colloidal dispersion, porous being of colloidal size as well as to true solution, and thus cannot be employed for filtering salt. However, a filter paper treated with collodion or gelatin solution followed by hardening by dipping in the formaldehyde solution serve the purpose. Due to this treatment, the pore size of filter paper is reduced. The filter paper so obtained is called ultrafilter, and the filtration device such as using such a filter paper is called ultrafiltration. By using the impregnating solution of different concentration, a series of graded ultrafilter can be obtained. With such ultrafilter, solute impurity of different size can be effectively removed. The sol is poured over the filter paper, ultrafilter, which permits solution of electrolyte to pass through the but retains the colloidal particle in the form of slime. Slime in contact with water disperses spontaneously to form a colloidal system. Other filter media commonly used are unglazed porcelain and finely sintered glass. Since under ordinary condition filtration proceeds very slowly, pressure or suction has to be applied to speed up the process. Properties of colloidal solution. Physical properties. Heterogeneous character. Colloidal particle being larger than molecule form heterogeneous mixture consisting of particle of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. The phenomena of Tyndall effect, electrophoresis and electroosmosis confirm heterogeneity of colloidal system. Stability. Colloidal sols are quite stable. Only a few colloidal particles of comparatively large size may settle, but very slowly. Filtrability. Ordinary filter paper cannot be used for removing the dispersed phase because size of pores of filter paper is bigger than the size of colloidal particles, which can easily pass through the pores of the ordinary filter paper. Animal membrane or parchment paper does not allow the colloidal particle to pass through it. This forms the basis of separating the particles of colloid from those of the crystalloids in the process called dialysis and discussed later. Visibility. The particles in the colloidal solution are not visible to naked eye or under ordinary microscope. In fact, a particle is not visible if its size is less than half the wavelength of the light used to see it. Since the minimum wavelength of the visible light range is 3600 angstrom, therefore with visible light a particular particle of size less than 1800 angstrom cannot be seen. As the maximum size of colloidal particle being less than 1800 angstrom, these are not visible. Colligative property. Osmotic pressure. There are four colligative properties: osmotic pressure, elevation in boiling point, depression in freezing point, and relative lowering of vapor pressure. These properties depend upon the number of moles present. Colloidal particles have very high average molecular mass, and hence the number of moles present in the solution will be extremely small. Thus, the value for any of the colligative property for a particular substance will be smaller as compared to its value when it is in the part of true solution. However, some colloids have measurable osmotic pressure which have been determined with reasonable degree of accuracy. Hence, osmotic pressure have been used to determine the average molecular mass of colloidal particles. Third one is kinetic properties and Brownian movement. When viewed through an ultra microscope, colloidal particles are seen continuously moving in a zigzag way. Robert Brown in 1827 observed such a movement of pollen grains suspended in water, and hence it is called Brownian movement. Thus, Brownian movement may be defined as continuous zigzag movement of colloidal particle in a colloidal sol. Cause of Brownian movement. The explanation of the phenomena is that the molecule of dispersion medium, due to their kinetic motion, strike against the colloidal particle from all sides with different force, causing them to move. However, colloidal particle being comparatively heavier move with a slower speed. Importance of Brownian movement. Brownian movement opposes the force of gravity and does not allow the colloidal particles to settle down. Thus, it is responsible for the stability of colloidal solution. Thus, stability is also explained on the basis of electrical charge. It also helped in determination of Avogadro's number. Optical property. Tyndall effect. If a strong converging beam of light is passed through a colloidal solution placed in a dark room, the path of beam gets illuminated with a bluish light. The path of light is made visible by scattering of light by the colloidal particle. The phenomena was observed by Tyndall in 1869 and is called Tyndall effect. Thus, Tyndall effect may be defined as scattering of light by the colloidal particle present in the colloidal sol. The illuminated path of the beam is called Tyndall concentration. The phenomena is also observed when beam of light is projected in a cinema hall and it becomes visible due to scattering by colloidal dust particle in the air of the room. A simple experiment as shown in figure 7.9 may be performed in the laboratory or in a dark room to see the scattering of light by colloidal solution and distinguish between a true solution free from any dust particle and a colloidal solution. The Tyndall effect has been used to devise an instrument called ultramicroscope, in which the light scattered by the colloidal particle can be seen through a microscope. The importance of Tyndall effect lies in the fact that it has helped to confirm the heterogeneous nature of the colloidal solution. Fifth one is electrical property. Stability of colloidal sol. Electrical charge on colloidal particle. The stability of colloidal solution is due to the fact that the colloidal particles in the sol are electrically charged. The particles therefore repel one another and do not come close together to form large non-colloidal particle. Colloidal particle carry either positive or negative charge. All the dispersed particles in a colloidal solution carry the same charge, while the dispersion medium has an equal and opposite charge. For example, arsenious sulfide particles are negatively charged, whereas the dispersion medium water is positively charged. Ferric hydroxide particles are positively charged, whereas the dispersion medium water is negatively charged. Using water as a dispersion medium, the charge on the particle of some common salts are given below. Metallic property are negatively charged. Starch is negatively charged, clay is negatively charged, salicylic acid is negatively charged, metal sulfide like arsenic sulfide and cadmium sulfide etc. are negatively charged, acidic dyes like Congo red, eosine etc. are negatively charged. Metal hydroxide are positively charged, oxides are positively charged, hemoglobin is positively charged, basic dye like methylene blue is positively charged. Origin of electrical charge on colloidal particles. The various reasons for the origin of electrical charge on the colloidal particle are as follows. Frictional electrification caused by the mutual rubbing of colloidal particle with molecules of dispersion medium. Electron capture by particle from air and during electrodispersion in Briggs method. Preferential absorption of ion from solution. An ionic colloid absorbs ions common to its own lattice structure. The silver chloride particles can absorb chloride ion from chloride solution and silver ions from the solution having silver ions. The sol will be negatively charged in first case and positively charged in the second case. Dissociation of molecules followed by the aggregation of ion. For example, in case of soap, the RCOO negative groups get dissociated from Na positive ions and have a tendency to aggregate into a cluster carrying negative charge are already explained. The particles of dye have a tendency to dissociate to form aggregate carrying positive or negative charge depending upon its composition. Fifth one is dissociation of molecular electrolytes absorbed on the surface of particles. For example, hydrogen sulfide molecules get absorbed on colloidal particles of sulfide during precipitation. But dissociation of hydrogen sulfide H positive ions are lost, thereby giving a negative charge to colloidal particle. Ferric hydroxide sol particles are positive due to self-dissociation. OH negative ions are lost to the solution, giving positive charge to the particle. Electrophoresis or cataphoresis. The existence of the electrical charge, positive or negative, can be shown by the process electrophoresis, also called cataphoresis, which involve movement of colloidal particle towards one or the other electrolyte when placed under the influence of an electric field. The movement of colloidal particle under the influence of an electric field is called electrophoresis or cataphoresis. As soon as the colloidal particle reach the positively charged electrode, they get neutralized and coagulated. Electrophoresis can be used to find out the nature of the charge that the colloidal particles carry. Earlier, the term used was cataphoresis because most of the colloidal sols studied at that time contained positively charged colloidal particle and thus migrate towards cathode. However, now the term electrophoresis is preferred because colloidal particles may migrate toward either of the electrode, anode or cathode, depending upon the charge on the colloidal particle. It is interesting to point out here that when particles fall through water, sedimentation occurs, a potential difference is set up. This is called sedimentation potential. It is the reverse of the electrophoresis. The phenomena was discovered by Dorn in 1880s and hence it is sometimes known as Dorn effect. Electroosmosis. On placing a colloidal solution under the influence of an electric field, the particle of dispersion medium, which are also electrically charged, move towards a positively charged electrode, provided the colloidal particles are not allowed to move as shown in figure 7.11 below. This phenomena is called electroosmosis. Thus, electroosmosis may be defined as the phenomena in which molecules of dispersion medium are allowed to move under the influence of an electric field. whereas colloidal particles are not allowed to move. It is interesting to point out here that if a liquid is forced through a porous material, clay diaphragm, or a capillary tube, a difference of potential is set up between two sides. This is known as streaming potential. This fact is supported by the phenomena of electroosmosis. In fact, streaming potential may be considered as reverse of electroosmosis. Fourth one is coagulation or flocculation. Coagulation is generally brought by the addition of electrolyte. When an electrolyte is added to a colloidal solution, the particles of the sol are attracted towards the ion, which are positively charged, and thus get neutralized. The neutral particle then start accumulating to form particles of larger size which settle down. Hardest-Chauger rule law. The quantity of electrolyte which is required to coagulate a definite amount of colloidal solution depending upon the valency of ion having charge opposite to that of the colloidal particle. This observation of Hardy and Schauger is known as Hardest-Chauger law, which may be stated as follows. Greater is the valency of a positively charged ion of electrolyte being added, faster is the coagulation. Thus, for the coagulation of negatively charged arsenic sulfide sol, trivalent cations are far more effective than divalent cation, which is termed more effective than monovalent cation. Similarly, for coagulation of positively charged ferric hydroxide, tetravalent anions are more effective than trivalent anion, which are more effective than divalent anion, which in turn are more effective than monovalent anion. The minimum amount of electrolyte thus must be obtained to 1 liter of the colloidal solution so as to bring about complete coagulation or flocculation is called coagulation or flocculation value of the electrolyte. Thus, smaller is the flocculation value of an electrolyte, greater is the coagulating or precipitating power. As coagulating power is inversely proportional to the flocculation or coagulation value, to compare the relative coagulating power of two electrolytes for some same colloidal solution, we have coagulating power of electrolyte 1 divided by coagulating power of electrolyte 2 is equal to coagulating value of electrolyte 2 divided by coagulation value of electrolyte 1. For example, for coagulation of negative arsenic sulfide sol, coagulating power of aluminum chloride divided by coagulating power of sodium chloride is equal to coagulation value of sodium chloride divided by coagulation value of aluminum chloride is equal to 52 divided by 0.093 is equal to 559. Thus, aluminum chloride have 559 times more coagulating power than sodium chloride. For a negatively charged sol like that arsenic sulfide, the coagulating power of the cations are in the order: aluminium 3 positive is greater than barium 2 positive is greater than sodium positive. For a positively charged sol like that of the ferric hydroxide, the coagulating power of anions are in order: ferric cyanide complex 4 negative is greater than PO4 3 negative is greater than SO4 2 negative is greater than chloride negative. Coagulation can also be caused by the following method: by electrophoresis. In electrophoresis, the particle of dispersed phase move towards a positively charged electrode and get neutralized. If the process is continued for sufficient time, these neutral particles unite and grow in size and settle down. By mutual precipitation is a process in which a positively charged sol are mixed in proper proportion to neutralize the charge of each other, causing coagulation of both the sol. For example, if positively charged ferric hydroxide and negatively charged arsenic sulfide sol are mixed, both the sol get coagulated. For prolonged dialysis, the stability of colloidal sol is due to the presence of small amount of the electrolyte. On prolonged dialysis, the electrolyte is completely removed. As a result, the colloidal sol becomes unstable and get coagulated. By heating or cooling, in some cases heating the sol result into coagulation of butter. Similarly, in some cases cooling the sol result in coagulation of milk. that is cooling milk fat start floating on the surface. Note: lyophobic soil are easily coagulate by small amount of electrolytes. Moreover, the process is irreversible, but lyophilic soils are not easily precipitate. They require large amount of electrolyte. The process of precipitation of lyophilic colloid soil is called salting out to distinguish it from the coagulation used for lyophobic soil. Further, where coagulation of lyophobic soil by addition of electrolyte is due to neutralization of charges, the salting out and precipitation of lyophilic soil is not due to neutralization of charge, but due to hydration of particle of electrolyte added, resulting into the dehydration of dispersed particle, thereby causing their coagulation. It is believed that the salting out effect, that is ability to remove lyophilic substance from colloidal soil, depend upon the nature of ion. The order of cation is magnesium 2 positive greater than calcium 2 positive greater than strontium 2 positive greater than barium 2 positive greater than sodium positive greater than potassium positive greater than rubidium positive greater than cesium positive, and the order of anions is citrate 3 negative greater than tartrate 2 negative greater than SO4 2 negative greater than PO4 3 negative greater than acetate greater than chloride greater than nitrate greater than bromide greater than iodide greater than CNS negative. The series is known as Hofmeister series or more generally as lyotropic series. However, this order does not always hold good. The relative position of the ions may change depending upon the nature of colloid being precipitate. Protetic action of lyophilic colloids and gold number. It has already been explained that lyophobic soil, like those of metals, are unstable and easily precipitate by addition of electrolyte. However, it is observed that addition of certain lyophilic colloids like gum, soap, gelatin to lyophobic colloids like metal soil render lyophobic colloids difficult to coagulate by addition of electrolyte. The process is known as protection, and the lyophilic colloids are termed as protective colloids. It is believed that the protective action of lyophilic colloids is due to the covering up of the particle of lyophobic colloids by those of lyophilic colloid. However, this explanation does not seem to be fully correct because the particle of protecting substance have almost same size as those substance being protected. Thus, the exact mechanism of protection is not clear. To compare the protective action of different lyophilic colloids, Sigmondi in 1901 introduced a term called gold number. It is defined as follows. Gold number of a protective colloid is the minimum weight of it in milligrams, which must be added to 10 ml of standard red gold sol so that no coagulation of gold sol take place when 1 ml of 10% sodium chloride is rapidly added to it. Evidently, smaller the gold number of protective colloid, greater is the protective action. The gold number are given below. Instead of gold number, the protective action of lyophilic colloid is sometimes expressed in terms of Congo-Rubin number, as suggested by Ostwald. It is defined as the minimum amount of protective colloid in milligram that prevents the color change of 100 ml of 0.01% Congo-Rubin dye, to which 0.16 gram equivalent of KCl is added. The reciprocal of gold number are included in the table. They give directly comparison of protective action. Emulsions. An emulsion is a colloidal dispersion in which both dispersed phase and dispersion medium are liquid. Method of preparation. An emulsion is prepared by shaking strongly the mixture of two liquid or by passing the mixture through a colloidal mill called the homogenizer. The emulsions thus prepared from pure liquid are usually not stable and the two liquids separate out on standing. To get a stable emulsion, small quantity of certain other substance are added during preparation. The substance thus added to stabilize the emulsion are called emulsifiers or emulsifying agents. The substance commonly used as emulsifying agent are soap of various kind, long chain of sulfonic acid or lyophilic colloids, proteins, gum, agar, etc. Role of emulsifier. The role of emulsifier can be explained by taking the example of soap as an amplifier. Soap are sodium or potassium salt of highly fatty acid. A molecule of soap consists of two parts, hydrocarbon part which is soluble in oil and the polar part which is soluble in water. Thus, if a drop of oil is surrounded by soap solution, the R part of the soap remains in the oil and CO negative Na part remains in the water. Thus, soap molecules are concentrated over the surface of a drop of oil. As a result, interfacial tension between oil and water decrease and hence they are intermixed into each other to form the emulsions. Type of emulsion. If the terms oil is used for any liquid which is immiscible with water and is capable of forming an emulsion with water, then the various type of emulsion may be classified into two types. These are emulsions of oil in water, in which oil is dispersed phase and water is dispersion medium. Emulsion of water in oil, in which water is in dispersed phase or oil is in dispersion medium. Evidently, the type of emulsions depend upon the relative amount of two liquid. If water is in excess, it is oil in water emulsion. If oil is in excess, it is water in oil emulsion. The type of emulsion formed also depend upon the nature of emulsifying agent. For example, the presence of soluble soap as the emulsifying agent generally favor the formation of emulsion of oil in water, whereas the presence of insoluble soap favors the formation of emulsion of water in oil. Example of emulsion. The two well-known example of emulsion: milk, in which particles of liquid fat are dispersed in water; cod liver oil emulsions, in which water is dispersed in the oil. To test the type of emulsion, the type of to which the given emulsion belong can be tested experimentally by any one of the following method. Microscopic method. To a small amount of given emulsion, a few drop of water are added. The water will mix completely if emulsion is in oil in water type. Likewise, for water in oil emulsion, the miscibility with few drops can be tested. The miscibility can be seen under a microscope. Conductance method. This method is based upon adding a small amount of electrolyte to the emulsion. If the conductance increase, the emulsion is oil in water type, and if there is no significant change, it is water in oil type. Dye method. A small amount of an oil soluble dye is added to the emulsion. If it is water in oil type, it become deeply colored, otherwise it remain colorless. Properties of emulsion. First, emulsion exhibit all property like Tyndall effect, Brownian movement, electrophoresis, coagulation on addition of electrolyte, containing multivalent positive ion as the dispersed particle, that is globules, are usually negatively charged, are shown by the colloidal sol. Second, size of dispersed particle in emulsion is larger than the sol. It ranges from 1000 angstrom to 10,000 angstrom. Third, emulsions can be broken to yield the constituent liquid by heating, centrifuging, by adding large amount of electrolyte to precipitate out dispersed phase, or by chemical destruction of emulsifying agent. The separation of cream from milk is well known example of centrifuging. The process of breaking an emulsion to yield the constituent liquid is called demulsification. Application of emulsion. Emulsions are useful in number of ways. A few applications are given below. In the metallurgical process, the concentration of ore by froth flotation process is based upon the treatment of powdered ore with oil emulsion. The valuable particles of the ore form which comes to the surface and is skimmed off. Second, asphalt emulsified in water is used for building road without the necessity of melting the asphalt. Milk, which is an important constituent of our diet, is an emulsion of liquid fat in water. Several oily drugs are prepared in the form of emulsion. The cleaning action of ordinary soap for washing clothes, crockery, etc. is based upon the formation of oil in water emulsion. The digestion of fat in the intestine takes place by the process of emulsification. A small amount of fat reacts with the alkaline solution present in the intestine to form a sodium soap. This soap causes the emulsification of the rest of the fat, thereby making the function of digestive enzyme easier in carrying out the metabolic processes. Harmful effect of emulsion. The formation of emulsion is sometimes harmful. For example, petroleum forms emulsion with water. Thus, in the petroleum well, we get the emulsion sometime instead of petroleum alone. Likewise, in the area where small amount of petroleum are present, the well water become unfit for use. Application of colloid. Colloids play a very significant role in the nature and in our daily life. Some of the important application of colloids are discussed below. First one is medicine. Medicine in colloidal form are easily absorbed by the body tissue and hence are more effective. Second, sewage disposal. Colloidal particles of dirt, mud carry electric charge. Hence, when sewage water is passed through the plates kept at high potential, the colloidal particles are coagulated due to electrophoresis and thus suspended matter get removed. Third, purification of water. The precipitation of colloidal impurity present in water can be done by adding certain electrolyte like alum, etc. The negatively charged colloidal particle of impurity get neutralized by aluminium ions and settle down, and pure water can be decanted off. Fourth one is cleaning action of soap. Soap solution is colloidal in nature. It removes the dirt particle either by absorption or by emulsifying the greasy matter sticking to the cloth as explained. Fifth one, formation of delta. River water contains charged colloidal particles of clay, sand and many other material. Sea water is a very big storehouse of a variety of electrolyte dissolved in it. As soon as river water come in contact with sea water, the electrolytes present in sea water coagulate the suspended colloidal particles, which ultimately settle down at the point of contact. Thus, the level of the river bed rises. As a result, water adopt a different course and delta is formed in due to course of time. Sixth one is smoke precipitation. Smoke particles are actually electrically charged colloidal particles of carbon in the air. Precipitation of smoke particle is carried out by Cottrell precipitator, which is based on the principle of electrophoresis. Smoke is allowed to pass through a chamber having a number of metal plate attached to a metal wire connected to a source of high potential. Charged particle of smoke get attracted by a positively charged electrode get precipitate after losing their charge, and the hot air pass out through the chimney. The dust particle are also removed in the process. Thus, the nuisance of smoke in big industrial cities can be avoided. For seventh one is photography. A colloidal solution of silver bromide in gelatin is applied on glass plate or celluloid films or paper to form sensitive plate in photography. Eighth, artificial rain. Artificial rain can be caused by spraying a positively charged colloidal dust or sand particle over a cloud. The colloidal water particles present in the cloud will get neutralized and coagulate to form bigger water drop, causing artificial rain. Ninth is smoke screen. In warfare, smoke screen are used which are nothing but colloidal dispersion of certain substance in the air. 10th, rubber industry. Latex is a colloidal solution of negatively charged rubber particle. From latex, rubber can be obtained by coagulation. Rubber plated particles are prepared by depositing negatively charged rubber particle over the article to be rubber plated by making them article and anode in a rubber plating bath. 11th, other applications. Blue color of the sky is due to scattering of light by colloidal dust particle present in the air. Tyndall effect. Similarly, sea water looks blue due to scattering of light by the colloidal impurity present in sea water. Tail of comets is seen as a Tyndall cone due to scattering of light by a tiny solid particles left by the comet in its path. Blood is a colloidal solution, and the stoppage of bleeding on applying ferric chloride solution is due to coagulation of blood forming a clot. Gel. Some lyophobic sols, that of gelatin or agar-agar or gum arabic etc., containing high concentration of dispersed solid, on cooling change spontaneously into a semi-solid form, jelly-like, enclosing the entire liquid within it. The product thus formed is known as gel and the process is known as gelation. Similarly, some lyophobic sol, example that of salicylic acid or ferric hydroxide etc., which show some lyophilic character, also form gel under suitable condition when electrolytes are added into them. The colloidal system constituting the liquid as dispersed phase and solid as dispersion medium, when present in a semi-solid state, the entire liquid is enclosed within the solid, is known as gel. It is believed that a gel consists of 3D network formed by linking and cross-linking of molecular chain of solid dispersion medium within which the liquid of dispersed phase is enclosed. Method of preparation of gel. Depending upon their nature, gel may be prepared by any one of the following three methods. By cooling the sol. When a lyophilic sol, some hydrophobic gels such as that of salicylic acid and aluminum hydroxide, commonly known as silica gel and alumina gel, are prepared by this method. For the preparation of silica gel, hydrochloric acid is added to the aqueous solution of sodium silicate. As a result of double decomposition reaction, free salicylic acid is produced. It is highly gelatinous due to the hydration and on allowing to stand rapidly sets to a solid gel. Similarly, for the preparation of alumina gel, sodium hydroxide solution and aluminum chloride solution of suitable concentration are mixed. The hydrated aluminum hydroxide formed on allowing to stand sets to a solid gel. Third one is by changing of solvent. Some gels are prepared by dissolving the substance in one solvent and then suddenly changing the solvent in which it is insoluble. For example, a gel of calcium acetate is obtained by this method. For this purpose, calcium acetate is dissolved in water so that the concentration is not too low, and then alcohol is rapidly added to it. As a result, the salt is thrown out of the solution as colloidal dispersion, which on keeping gets to a solid gel within which all the liquid is entrapped. Classification of gel. Gel are classified into elastic and non-elastic gels. The main point of difference are elastic gel. These are those gel which possess the property of elasticity. That is, they change to solid mass on dehydration, which can again be converted into gel by addition of water followed by heating and cooling. Elastic gel, when placed in contact with water, they absorb water and swell. The property is called imbibition. For elastic gel, examples are gelatin, agar-agar, starch. On the other side, non-elastic gel. These are those gel which do not possess the property of elasticity. That is, they change into solid mass on dehydration, which become rigid and cannot be converted into the original form by heating with water. Non-elastic gel, they do not show the phenomena of imbibition. Non-elastic gel example is salicylic acid. Property of gel. First one is syneresis. When the gel, elastic or non-elastic, is allowed to stand for a long time, it shrinks and lose the entire liquid held by it. The shrinking of gel is termed as syneresis. Second was is thixotrophy. Some gel like that of gelatin on mechanical shaking lose their semi-solid gel-like character and change into a liquid sol. This sol on standing again change into gel. This reversible phenomena involving gel-sol transformation is known as thixotrophy. Imbibition. When a gel is placed in a suitable liquid, it absorbs a large volume of the liquid. The phenomena is called imbibition or swelling. This effect of the presence of salt on swelling was studied by Hofmeister in 1891. He found that for the salt of same cation, the effect of certain anion was to inhibit the imbibition, while that of certain other anions was to favor the imbibition. For example, in case of iodide, the swelling is so high that the gel disperses into sol even at room temperature. In other cases, the sol is formed by warming the swollen gel. The order of temperature to which the gel must be heated in the presence of various anions before it change into sol is called Hofmeister series or lyotropic series. Greek lyotropic is equal to change to liquid. The order is same for salting out discussed earlier. The anion for citrate to acetate inhibit the imbibition, while from chloride to CNS